we need bedrooms, we need space, we're having a baby. But I understand people are working, kids are in sports, and they're running all around. It's all about, planning. Guys, welcome back to the show that's going to take the guesswork out of your home remodel. I'm Pete. I'm here with Gonzalo, and this is No One Knows.
That's right, guys. So stick around, because if you didn't know, now you'll know. All right, Pete. So we're not at the studio again.
Yeah, we're on location. We're live here in Wantagh Woods. It's not the hottest day of the year, but it's hot as hell out today.
It is really hot today, guys.
We're a little dirty and sweaty, but we're in our natural habitat, and we are, just going to go through this beautiful home here and get some info out to you guys at home.
So that's what we have for you guys today. Our series, Tales from the Island. We're sitting at the island.
Yeah, our new series, Tales from the Island. And then in this episode is the truth about square foot pricing.
The truth, the real truth about square foot pricing, something that we get asked all the time, and let's put it out to the light. So, Pete, I have a couple of questions here that we get all the time. This one came through our Instagram, and basically they want to know, do we help our clients by working out together their designs and budgets, and can we work with their ideas?
Oh, absolutely. That's why we're here today. So this is a perfect example, by the way, of the house we're here today. So these clients came to us about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
They had a ranch. This is a ranch in Wantagh Woods, and they needed more space. All the bedrooms were on the first floor. So, you'll see that the whole first floor is open. But all their bedrooms were on the first floor, small kitchens, they're very tight.
No place to entertain or anything.
The kids were all jammed up in rooms together. And they needed more space. So they came to us. They didn't know where to start. They didn't know anything about pricing. We came in, we took a few measurements. I met with them personally, and it took us about a good year to come up with a design, back and forth, and to manage expectations with budget and make their budget work with a design that we're here today with that flows very well.
That's right. And you guys are going to see, through this video, the beautiful finishes that they have and everything. But I want to ask you something.
But just to add to that question a little bit more, it helps us when you guys know a little bit about what you want, and then we can cross that bridge for you. So they have pictures, they bring us pictures, they bring us Pinterest boards.
The vision boards are very helpful for you guys and for us to take you through the right path of what you want to accomplish with your.
And basically, when a client comes to us and they say, we need bedrooms, we need space, we're having a baby, our children need private spaces to, do their homework. That's all information and fuel we need to make that design right for them.
That's right.
And then we do that in-house, free of charge, and work with these clients before we bring it to the architects. So that's what helps. Me being an architectural designer and having a degree in architecture really helps me help our clients, because I can put it all out there. I can design it all. I even help our other project developers with their projects. Right. And
And it doesn't stop just with the plans, because in this particular job, actually, we had something that happens a lot during our projects, and is when everything was ready to be permitted and ready to be built, they threw a wrench into the mix. So somebody else would have freaked out and said, oh my God, we got to start all over again. Not here at Nora, not with Peter. So they just say,
it happens.
Say we wanted an extra bedroom out of nowhere.
It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen where you're waiting for your permits, which take 2 or 3 months, depending on which town. Some towns could take 5 to 6 months. But in that timeline, things change for clients, So right. Sometimes they'll call in and be 3 months in, permits filed. This client called in and said, we want to add that other bedroom and get that extra 300 square feet. So we jumped in right away. We got in with our expediters, did a zoning analysis, made sure we could add that 300 square feet, re-amended the plans, got it refiled just before the plans came out. And really, there was no holdup. But yes, it does increase budget, but if that's what you need, we can make it happen.
Yeah. That's right. So thank you for your answers. And that takes me to question number 2, which we get a lot via email. Also, they call us a lot with these questions to our office. And what's the square foot price? The cost of the project versus what will push my price out of the budget?
So that's a great question. So we get that call daily. I mean, we get all these calls all day. And the first thing they they talk about is, oh, what's your square foot price to build? You know, it's hard to say because we don't know your project. We don't know what's involved in the project. We don't know a lot of things. So just to shoot off a square foot price, really, it doesn't work. So, I mean, square foot price, don't get me wrong, is a great budgetary tool. So if somebody calls in and said, hey, we want to do this or that, we can, with all the prior jobs we did, come up with a number that we can give them so they can understand where they would be in a budget.
Very close.
But what really we need to do is come in, take some measurements, see what we can salvage in the house, see what the finishes are actually going to be, see what the limitations of the property are. Like, you know, what happens if you're on a cliff and we got to pump concrete in, or there's no access to the backyard? There's a lot of different things that could drive a number.
This particular project, Peter, we had a budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now the reality of the cost. What were the key factors there that drove this project outside the budget a little bit?
So let's talk about real numbers for a minute so people can understand at home, because this is why we do this. We do this to get the right information out there.
That's right.
So your renovation doesn't become a horror story, right? So this house, we're sitting at about 3,400 square foot, right? This is an 1,800 square foot ranch that used to be a ranch. And 200 square feet of that is garage. So we have about 1,600 square feet of living space.
I bet you they're all with their calculators right now trying to do it.
Everybody's home with their calculator. Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
So this first floor, when we first spoke to them, was going to run about 320,000 around there, you know, with a full demo, you know, all that going on. There are budget increases in here as well. We'll go over that a little bit later. Second floor turned out to be about 1,600 square foot at the end of the day. So you're looking at it like a $400,000 dormer on this house, right? It's a new floor system, a whole 9 yards. So we're sitting at about 720,000 without all the upgrades that are in this house that we'll go through.
Right.
So very standardly, you know, if you're doing the numbers at home, you know, just budgetary, pure budgetary, just to, you know, you can bring the numbers down too if you want to change finishes. But you're looking at about $200 a square foot budget for a first floor reno, and you're looking at about $250 to $265 for a second floor dormer with a floor system, stuff like that.
And let's just something to be clear there. Our standard is not the basic. Our standard is upgraded versions for many other contractors.
Yeah, and you'll see as we bring you through this job is our standard is 4-inch red oak floors, 3.5-inch casings, 5 1/4 bases. We bring it to another level with our finishes.
Right.
So we feel, what we felt, everybody was upgrading there anyway. So instead of coming in with a low number, we come in with the right number, and then there's really no upgrades at that level.
Right.
The only upgrades after that would be built-ins and floor upgrades and tile upgrades.
That takes me to question number 3, Pete. So what pushes the budget? Walk me through this house. Let me know in what pushes the budget on this house to go a little bit.
That's another great question. So let's just say, you know, we're in a contract. We went with the standards. You could still move. You could still do everything you want to do. A lot of the clients then start pushing the envelope a little bit. And then let's start with the outside. So this house in particular, we have our standard siding. We use a standard 2.5 lineal around all the windows, 3/4 foam on the back. But they've added some real stone around the front door, right?
They use the budget a little bit.
They changed from paver walks to bluestone walks. A little bit of a budget, not much. They added a new blacktop driveway with pavers. So, I mean, doesn't increase the budget that much, but it does increase the budget.
What about
then as we come inside, just the frame.
Oh, hold on a second. The ASAC details they did around the windows.
Yeah, we added some freeze board and we did some panels on underneath the windows.
Those are smaller ones, but you know,
it's still like a budget increase. So you have to realize when you're getting an estimate and you're bidding it out, you have to really look into all these little innuendos that do build the price up.
Right.
And then what happen is you'll go with a lower price guy, and then all of a sudden when you are adding all these things in, and if you don't ask for them, it becomes a problem later on. Sure. You know, and it leaves the door open for them to charge you a lot more. You know, we pride ourselves on not beating our clients up on
right. Very transparent throughout the whole process, and since the beginning, we will let you know, hey, with this type of finishes, this is where you're gonna be at.
Yeah.
Now, something that also pushes the budget.
Well, let's walk in. You know, we did the outside. Let's talk about framing. So there's not much ways you can increase a budget on framing unless there's damage, termite damage to the plates. Usually we can see that. If we don't see it and uncover it, and then we would have to fix it. That could be a cost.
Which we did have here, right?
This, we had to change all the floor joists out and redo all the insulation. This whole back area was really damaged due to high humidity in their crawl space. Another big increase would be changing, which everybody's doing now. We reframe all the exterior walls and shoot the ceilings up to 9 feet. So
not your regular 8-foot ceilings, 9-foot ceilings, which give you a beautiful, beautiful first floor.
beautiful.
And
It does increase the
also-
budget.
but also gives you a very steady second floor for your brand new.
And what we've actually been doing now, because the energy codes have been getting so stringent, is when we actually go with a customer and push 9-foot, we're starting to offer 2x6 exterior wall construction, so we can get that, R19 insulation in the walls and get a really good insulation,
Which is also going to help the way they run their mechanicals, their heating and AC, to be a lot more efficient.
And that's great, leading right into the mechanicals. So mechanicals are another area where people tend to increase the budget, starting very simply with HVAC. So HVAC, you can go with 13 SEER systems. A lot of these guys out there are using Goodman, which is garbage, but it's cheap just to get their foot in the door.
Right.
We use Rheem, Rudd, Carrier. I mean, we use higher end products. We start at 13 SEER. We can go up to 20 SEER, which would be a budget increase if you wanted to run
With the heat pumps and stuff.
Yeah, with heat pumps. Our basic install would be a Rheem 13 SEER with hydro coils, which is what we do all the time. Another budget increase could be adding a new hot water heater or a new wall hung boiler, or even hot water returns. When you start building houses over 3,500 square feet, hot water becomes an issue. You don't want to be waiting at the faucet for, 3-4 minutes for hot water to come up, especially if the boiler's on the far right side of the house and your master's on the left, and then electric. Electric is another big one. We're having a lot of people throw massive amounts of hi-hats at us, exterior lighting, up lighting, under counter lighting, toe kick lighting, EV chargers, 300 amp, 400 amp services. I mean, you bring that to the table in the beginning, we'll price it right in. But people are figuring out, like, in the middle of a job, I want to buy a Tesla, so now I need a charger.
Yep.
And
you need the proper charger. You could either take 8 hours to get a quarter of a charge, or you put your proper 60 amp charger and you charge it in no time.
Now these new Tesla chargers that ramp up to 60 amps, you need a 300 amp service to run those if you're running wall ovens and pool heaters and all that other stuff.
Now,
I mean, that pretty much handles the mechanical end of the project, right? Now, when you start going into your finishes.
Let's talk about a little bit about our
So standard for us, we use 5/8 sheetrock on all of our builds. We don't use 1/2 inch anymore. It just takes a lot of the waves out of the wall. That also extends our jambs of our windows and our doors. So, I mean, then everything becomes a little bit more because you're using 5/8 sheetrock. But even in the bathrooms, we use 5/8 Durarock and 5/8 Greenboard.
It gives you also a little bit more of soundproofing, which it helps in between the bedrooms. So, and that's not an upgrade. That's just a standard with us.
Yeah. And, now we're talking about, there's soundproofing that we can do. There's also spray foam. A lot of people are opting to go with closed cell spray foam in the roofs. This house, we did a standard install here.
Yes.
So this is just basic. The AC's on right now, and this house is staying at a consistent 70 degrees with the doors opening and closing all day long. And the thermostat's set at 71. So,
The other thing with the finishes, let's talk about tile. How can that push my budget?
So there's another big push. So you'll see in this house, we have standardized tile, which is our 12 by 24s. Then you can push the budget where we're getting into 24 by 48s, wallpaper style tile where they have scenes on them, 48 by 48 porcelain tiles. This house, they went with some upgrades in the bathroom where we went with large format, 24 by 48s. And we're doing a really higher end backsplash here. I think they went with a Bostonian tile, which is upwards of $22 a square foot.
Beautiful.
Just for the backsplash.
It is up there. Now, also with our trim,
our trim in this house. So this is way above standard. So our standard is like we said, is 5 1/4 base, 3.5 molding, casings around the doors and windows. What we did here, and you'll see, is we did all applied panels all through the foyer, floor to ceiling. And we got 18-foot ceilings here. We did floor-to-ceiling panels in the living room, floor-to-ceiling panels in the dining room. We didn't do coffered ceilings in this house, but we did add a nice crown molding in certain areas, touching on that. And then we have a lot of extras and built-ins. Like we have a nice bar right behind us. We have a big wall unit, custom built-in, that we've been doing a lot more of.
Fully custom.
Fully custom.
This was exactly the customer gave you their ideas, you drew it, you designed it, and then the guys came in and fully custom to what the client
We
wanted.
sketched it all out, got the approval from them. They loved it. And then we went in and built it. And then you can see that right behind us here. A beautiful fireplace, built-ins.
Our kitchen, 2-member crown molding.
Yeah, so this kitchen, let's talk about upgrades with the kitchen. This is our standard Fabwood, which is a middle line cabinet. Very, very good, full wood construction. The only build-ups they did here were 3-member crowns, and they built up the island to 2 inches thick. We added a farm sink. They upgraded the appliances a little bit, but not too much. And like we said, the backsplash tile is going to increase some budgets here. If they went to a full stone, that would increase the budgets a little bit more. But, you know, it's
pretty much, you know, everything with the fine details, except for the framing, what could really push you to go over your budget. But
it's really important to understand that you can deliver a house like this and stay in budget without all those upgrades and still look beautiful. I mean, we showed our Lakeshore house, which is one of the houses we're selling. We were able to keep that in a budget, find deals on tiles and floors and everything.
Funny you say that, because that takes me to my next question, which is, well, can you guys build on a budget with no bells and whistles? Because people think we can't do that.
Of course we can, but let's be honest. Nobody wants to build with standardized materials. If I say, let's carpet the bedrooms upstairs, it's like I said a 4-letter word.
That's why I need a beep. The minute you say carpet, that needs to be...
You know, nobody wants to see carpet. Now this new thing with these white oak floors and 6 and 7 inch of floors, I mean... It's crazy numbers. When you start pricing out 7-inch white oak floors, you can't even go with real white oak anymore at that. It's just, the price is crazy. So we go engineered. Even the engineered is up in the $7-8 range for that floor. Unfinished, you know?
So we could definitely build on standard. You just have to know, you got to come clean and tell us what you really want. And not to say that once we start standard and you want options, we'll put all the options out there for you. And then it's up to the client to decide.
Yeah, I mean, this is your standard Fabwood kitchen, which is middle of the line. You can go with a builder's line, which we can make look just as good. It's an import, but nobody, you know, everybody tends to pull away from the import line. Or you can go full custom, where we custom build all your cabinets in any wood species you want, inset doors.
Stain or paint it.
Yeah,
I mean, finish you want.
But, you know, then you're talking about increasing the budgets, you know, so... If you're a client looking to just get some extra room, put your 4 kids upstairs, get the 5 bedrooms, you don't have to go 9-foot ceilings. You could just get that square footage you want, keep everything down to a minimum, and then you can always add that stuff later, right?
That's right. That's right. And Pete, a house like this with all these high-end finishes and all the extra details, the panel moldings, the 4 large format tile and all of that, people are probably... This is a question we get at the beginning of every project, and I know they're wondering at home, what about the timeline? Something like this.
Well, this project, they usually take this size, 3,200 square foot. We usually get them done within 4 to 5 months. But what it can increase that timeline is when choices are become an issue. So we try to get all those choices out of the way. When it takes you, you know, a long time to decipher which color you want to use on the roof and the siding, you know, that could be, you know, we're finding a lot of times now when we get to siding sign-offs, right, that people are taking 2 and 3 weeks because they're driving around. They want to get that. And you know what? We're not complaining about it because it is your once-in-a-lifetime job that you're doing.
That's right.
You know,
need to make the right decision.
You need to make the right decision, you know, but you need to not take 3 weeks to make the right decision. Right. So, but I understand people are working, kids are in sports, and they're running all around. It is, you know, it's all about, you know, planning, even planning like for us. It's crazy for us to be able to do these shows and have this going. It just takes extra planning on our part to make it all work out.
It does. This 20, 25 minutes that we're spending with you guys here today means we got to catch up on like 19, 20 hours of work. So, but we do it
at least 30 emails and texts, but
we do it all because we want to put out there the right information for you guys.
Yesterday, I was talking to a client that's seen one of our YouTube episodes and wants to do a full house interior reno. And, you know, they were very thankful that we put that information out there to help them really understand and led them to buy the house, I guess, that they bought and wanted to reno, you know, so.
That's true. We're very transparent. We're not afraid to put the real information out there because we are pros at what we do. One of the other things I want to touch too, Peter, is this particular project. We're coming back. We're finishing in about 3 weeks or so. They're going to be able to move in. They're going to be able to enjoy their summer, but they're already asking us to come back and finish their basement. And why not do also an outdoor project? Joe goes to show that we always like to end our projects. Like we say, you're part of the family now. You're part of the Noah family.
100%. Everybody's doing jobs in phases now. You know, you have your first phase, get them back in the house. Second phase is get an outdoor patio, pool, whatever that be, pavilions. Third phase is usually basements or, you know, whatever else comes to mind, you know?
Yeah. That's right, guys. So you're going to be able to see all the upgrades and stuff we mentioned throughout this video. And I think that's about it. Anything else you got for us?
No, I think, you know, you're seeing this house in Wantagh. We're here. You're seeing this house just in the last 3 week stage. So you got electricians finishing up. You have exterior work getting done. Floors are just getting ready to be sanded. So, you know, when you're looking through the house, you'll see all that going on. Within 3 weeks, it finishes up fast and it's going to look beautiful, right? Pages are almost wrapping up.
It'll be beautiful. We have a final shoot also coming up. So you guys will see the house once it's fully done. And that should be it for today. Take us out.
Well, guys, that was our show. If you like what you heard and like what you saw, please like and subscribe. We would love that. It helps us get our show out there.
That's right, guys. If you didn't know, now you know.